Did you know that potatoes are originally South and Central American? That's right, all potatoes on the planet have ancestry that goes all the way back to South and Central America, particularly in Peru. And yet when you think of potatoes, do you think of South American or Central American food? No, you probably think of Ireland or German food or French fries, which are actually Belgian. But have you ever wondered why and how the potato became such a major part of our diets worldwide? Today, the potato is a staple food in many countries around the world, and is even the fourth most grown crop globally. But did you know that potatoes were once considered poisonous and even were banned in several countries? It might sound crazy, but it's true. And the fact that you eat so many potatoes today is all because of this guy, Frederick the Great. Frederick the Great was a unique individual, to say the least. As the former king of Prussia, he was a patron of the arts, a musician, a politician, and a famed war strategist. He was the king of Prussia during the Enlightenment and gave sanctuary to Voltaire when Voltaire was kicked out of his homeland. He was also a huge fan of potatoes, which, at the time, was not a popular food in Europe. In fact, during Frederick the Great's time, many people in Europe thought that potatoes were poisonous, and some people even thought they could cause leprosy. But Mr. the Great saw the potential of the potato as a crop that could feed his growing population, potentially stave off famine, and be a huge boost to his nation. Now you might be wondering, if potatoes were seen as these terrible things, how did he overcome these stereotypes? One word: branding. You see, Frederick first proposed that potatoes be grown nationwide as a crop to feed people and potentially even stave off famine. Potatoes were calorie dense, easy to grow, filled with nutrients. They provided everything that people really needed, and they could be grown everywhere. But aside from people thinking they were potentially poisonous, they also just thought they were bland or disgusting, and they didn't want to grow them, so Frederick had to find another way to get people to eat these tubers. So here is exactly what he did. In 1744, Frederick issued an edict declaring potatoes to be a royals-only vegetable. This meant that only members of the royal court were allowed to grow and eat potatoes. This made potatoes seem more valuable and desirable. If only the royals could eat them, they must be good. Second, he hired potato guards. These guards were tasked with guarding the fields of his royal gardens so that people could not come in and take the potatoes. Third, he used reverse psychology. Now that everybody has seen these fields of royal-only vegetables, which are being heavily guarded, everybody wants the potatoes. After having the guards be very strict for a while, he then instructs the guards to be very easy on people who are trying to steal potatoes, and even let them get away with it. Now that people are stealing the potatoes, they're growing them in their own yards, in their own gardens, and he achieves his goal of having people all across Prussia growing this cheap crop so that everybody has enough food to eat. But Mr. the Great didn't stop there. You see, Frederick in 1756 actually held a potato feast in a potato field filled with blooming potato plants with dishes that only featured the potatoes and invited only royals and special guests. This served two purposes. One, it continued to make potatoes seem like some fancy hot commodity, but also up until this point, the royals themselves were still hesitant about growing the crop. Determined to make his people like potatoes, Frederick even placed armed guards around the feast and did not let the guests leave until they tried the potato dishes. And of course, once they tried the potato dishes, they fell in love with them because, they're potatoes. But after this feast, he still didn't stop there. He marketed the potatoes for years to come. He had chefs coming up with new dishes. He had his royals go and advertise them and talk them up to their own citizens. And over time, the potato just became a staple food of Prussia. And from Prussia, it spread out to the rest of Europe. And that is how the potato, a South and Central American crop, became a major part of Central European cuisine.